that video of him pulling up to the stadium and running in the door, like when the helicopter was chasing him, that was me holding the door for him. So, of course, tonight, a man whose career epitomizes resilience and excellence. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion. He's seen the highs and lows of the NFL. He got it out the mud, including playing under legends like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Beyond football, though, he's a cancer survivor who has inspired countless fans with his strength and perseverance. So we got to welcome the one and only Baton Rouge's finest, Brandon Bolden. What's up, champ? Oh, what's up, man? I appreciate y'all having me.
Man, appreciate you being here, man. So let's jump in, man. You know, in 2021, you revealed your battle with cancer in 2018. Now, how did you manage working through that and continuing to play at such a high level despite that type of adversity?
Um, to be honest, it was like family. And as all athletes, the people that we share the locker room, the field, the court, whatever, that's part of the family. So it was something that I was kind of going through. A few of my teammates knew. Few of the coaches knew, and they helped me get through it because that was a tough time. You're dealing with something outside of football. You don't want to bring any distraction to the locker room, so you just kind of go about things, business being done. But those guys, and that's just the football side of it. Outside of football, I had my kids and my wife at the time, stayed on me, making the right choices, trying to make sure that, this wasn't the end for me, and make sure I was in high spirits, and they kept me going, so I had to keep going just for them, showing up for everybody that was showing up for me.
Absolutely. Now, take me through the day. Apparently you lost, control of feeling on the right side of your face. What was that day like? Walk me through that, especially playing, at this level, man, and being at, the top of your career. What goes through someone's mind when something like that happens?
Well, so when we went in for surgery, of course, doctor's going to play it small. It's like, yeah, we're just going to make a little incision and just going to get this off of the nerve, and that'll be the end of it. So waking up out of surgery, my wife's sitting up there crying. What's your problem? She's like, you was in surgery for 9 hours. It was supposed to be a 2-hour surgery. So where the cancer was like on the nerve endings of my face. So they had to cut out a piece of my skull to kind of get to it. So all this was kind of flipped up, and they had to work that nerve. And so, my wife, she's happy that I'm up and everything else, but she didn't tell me like everything was kind of drooping on this side. So I didn't see it until 2 days after surgery, when I was finally able to get out the bed and walk. I was going to the bathroom, and I caught a glimpse, and I was like, nah, I ain't see that. Use the bathroom and walk back out and looked at it again. I was like, bro, I look like Two-Face from Batman. Because I couldn't close this eye, I couldn't smile. Everything was just completely done. So had to get, you kind of could still see the scar. Had to get an aluminum plate to close my eyelid just so I could sleep properly. And it was stuff like that. And it's funny now looking back at it. I remember days after surgery when I got home, me and my wife was watching TV, and she cracked a joke. She was sitting on this side of me, and I laughed, but you can't see the laugh. So she got upset with me. It was like, oh, so you don't find me funny anymore? And it's like, no. So I had to turn to her so she could see. It's like, baby, just one side of my face not working. But and my kids too, I taught them, keep light of any situation you in, and they kind of kept my spirits up. So they crack jokes and stuff about me all the time. And even now I'm still dealing with trying to get full function on my face. So like now it's like I'll start eating, and because I chew with my right side, this entire side of my face will just start sweating. And it's like, oh, is the food too spicy? It's like, no, just look, just nerves waking up. This side is dry, you know. So, still trying to work through that, but everything has been great. The function that I do have now has been awesome. The NFL even went as far as to let me play in a dark visor because I didn't want people seeing like I can't control this eye. Like sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. I can barely talk. Putting the mouthpiece in was probably like the hardest part at the beginning. But then like after I would say maybe about 9 weeks into the season, I was able to like at least get half a smile on this side. So it was a process, and like I said, the guys in New England, and at that time I was playing for Miami for that 1 year. All those guys together never brought any attention to, bro, your face don't work, or you got a crater on the side of your neck, and it looked weird. They treated me the same, and much respect and shout out to them for getting me through that tough time, because it was something that was in the back of my mind, but because nobody else was paying attention to it, I didn't get a chance to pay attention to it either. So I was able to go out there and really concentrate on my family and football.
Yeah. Did it really impact your game when you were out there under those conditions?
Not necessarily. The most part, it was like hard to communicate because and kind of like talk like Rocky. It's like I only talk like this because I can't work this side of my face. So it's like I would kind of have to lean in, or if we had to communicate plays, especially on special teams, because we talk a lot. That was like the hardest part. But then it came down to that. Actually, the head coach for the Saints now, Riz, he was a special team coach in Miami. So we developed hand signals for me to communicate with guys on the other side of the field, like, hey, this is what I'm about to do, and get things rolling like that. So, like I said, I had the support staff over that time period of my life was like phenomenal. And to be honest, I'll go do it all again if I had the same group of cap. Great,
Man,
same.
it's an amazing story, bro. Especially when you consider, I know Randy Moss just recently hinted at his, personal health struggles that he's dealing with, and I know a lot of people were making light, of course, a lot of things trending on social media in terms of his eyes and what have you. Um, how does that impact your outlook on life as well as the game when something like that happens, especially when you're at the highest level when it
Right.
comes to performing like that? What goes through your mind there?
A lot. A lot goes through your mind, and there's a lot to try to, you try to allocate time to everything that you kind of been putting off. And in Randy's case, and in my case too, it was my health. I was putting so much in front of that, to where once you get that type of information, like when I got that phone call and was like, yeah, we're going to officially diagnose you with cancer, that crushes your world. Especially like I haven't been looking into medical field stuff. When I was a child, when somebody had cancer, they wasn't around too much longer after that. And so in that process of thinking now, it's like, well, I got to make sure my kids got this. I got to make sure my wife got this. I got to let my mom, my brothers know they got, we got all this type of stuff set up. So it's all those little moments that you kind of glance over because there was a lot of other stuff going on. You make time for those things. And Bill Belichick had this thing. Once the season starts, and like once we get into November of the season, he would have a saying. It was like, I want everything that you have going on in your life, put it in a drawer. And once the season is over with, you open that drawer and you take care of everything on that list. By the time I got diagnosed with cancer, my drawer was so full of stuff to where I opened that drawer and I cleaned it out that off season going into it. And right before surgery, I had literally handled like the last piece of fan mail that I had. I had to call my grandmother that stays in Monroe. I had to call her back because she was sick at the time as well. My grandmother was going through breast cancer, going through chemo and everything else. And so it's time for me to let all these people know how much I appreciate them and what they really mean to me. So like I said, it's like those little moments that you kind of, like everybody kind of glance over, you cherish them, and it means that just that much more to you when you're going through stuff like this. So, shout out to Randy. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard, but you got fans, you got brothers in arms, and we all praying for you and wishing nothing but the best.
Man, what a blessing, man. And certainly prayers for Randy Moss. Obviously you played alongside Tom Brady. Did you ever, speak to him when you were going through this challenge? And, I mean, what was those conversations like?
Uh, with Tom, everything is strictly business,
Yeah.
and that's my guy. And he might have been one of the last teammates I told, just
Okay.
because the relationship me and Tom had, is a funny one. The first day I got there, I'm unloading my stuff in the locker room, and he walked up to me, shake my hand, and introduce himself. And I told him then, I was like, man, I know who you are. Like, you ain't got to introduce yourself, dog, but I'm Brandon. Nice to meet you. And shortly after that, like, Tom sat in front of me on the plane. So me and him got to talk. He got to teach me a lot. And so he was like really like a big brother to me. And so he was like the last person. And when I did come tell him, I just remember him hugging me and telling me like, bro, you don't got to go through this by yourself. Like, we're all here for you, you know? And so hear that come from him. And, you know, this is Tom Brady talking to this undrafted free agent from Louisiana. And he's been doing this way longer than I have. For him to say that to me and, you know, point me in the right directions, start asking me about my diet and stuff like that. And to be honest, plays a big part of the reason why I played so long. Like my first year in the league, I had 2 knee scopes. After the second knee scope, he came up to me and was like, "Yo, what you doing in this weight room?" And I'm telling him, I was like, "Man, they got me on this workout, I got that workout." Tom was like, "Yo, no more weights for you." And so I stopped lifting weights in 2013. Like I was on Tom Brady playing that. We was just using bands and stuff like that. And I haven't had any knee problems since. Like the occasional swelling after a game or running on turf. But other than that, no torn cartilage, no chipped bones, no none of that. Like it was pretty much a healthy scratch from the time me and Tom had that conversation about taking care of your body till now. Like even now, like going up to like back in 2013, 2014, I looked at stairs and I'm like, I'm about to go find an elevator. And if they ain't got no elevator, we about to take our sweet time going up these stairs. I race my kids going up the stairs now, you know? So it's like he's a very integral part of the athlete and the man I am today.
Man, that's what's up. Obviously, you played alongside him during some of the most iconic moments in NFL history. What's your wildest Tom Brady story as a teammate?
Oh, wildest. There's 2 of them. One was the year we played Seattle in the Super Bowl. That season, we kind of got off to a right. Like we were kind of in the middle of the road, kind of figure out who we were as a team. We lost a couple of guys that season, and we played the Chiefs, and we got the Chiefs. They beat us. They beat us like a drum. Like took us out back and wore us out. And come Monday, which everybody dreads. I know Devin and Jason McCourty, they go on TV and they talk about how Mondays was like the worst day of the week. And because we go in there, win, lose, or draw. Bill gonna find something somebody did wrong, and we gonna spend about 40 minutes on this one play. And so going into, you know, Monday after this bad game, you know, everybody was like, yeah, you just, you know, everybody make sure you pull your britches up because this gonna be a long one. And Bill went in on Tom for like a solid hour.
So hold on, Brandon. I need to make sure I'm understanding this correctly because we don't want to run over this speed bump. So you telling me that Bill Belichick went in on Brady?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
For
Bill let that be known. Like every rookie meeting, because we get to sit in on some of them, but every rookie meeting that I've been a part of, I've heard him say the same thing. It does not matter how you got here. I don't care who you are. What matters to me is what you do while you're here.
mm.
So as a rookie walking in, I'm hearing that. I'm like, okay, so the vets are here, rookies are here. Nah, that's not how it works in Bill mind. Everybody right here. Now what you do, put you here, put you here. And so I had already seen him get on but the spring I got there, we had Ocho Cinco, Dante Stallworth, Deion Branch. Uh, we had like it was like a lot of the guys I was watching in high school was still playing,
Yeah.
and they would jump the snap, didn't run the right route. And he going in on them like I'm coming from college, so it was like, but he talking to them like walk-ons. Like that's not how you talk to him. And so like I was already kind of hip to it. So this Monday after we lost to the Chiefs, he going in on Tom. And Tom kind of sitting there. He's sitting there. He sit on the very front row. I sit like 6 rows up against the wall. I think Bill made the comment about Bill made the comment saying, are we supposed to have the best quarterback in the NFL? And as he's saying it, it's the clip of Tom throwing a pick. He go, yeah, right. Man, Tom reached down, grabbed all his stuff, walked straight out of the meeting. The lights off. Walked straight out of the meeting. And because where I sit, I could see into the locker room. Tom went and sat in his locker, pulled out his phone like he was playing the game. So he was in there for like another 25, 30 minutes. We walk out the locker room. I go, hey, bro, you good? He was like, yeah, man. I just want him to know he woke up a beast. And I was like, what? And
Yeah.
after that, he 4 touchdowns a game. We might run for another 100, 200 yards. Somebody going to block a kick. And it was just like he lit. So it was like that lit that fire under Tom. And the whole team seeing how Tom responded to that lit a fire across the whole team. And I'm talking about coaching staff and all. Everybody kind of upped their game up after seeing, how Tom handled that. And it didn't turn into no yelling match. It didn't turn into, but what about what they did? No, like Tom really took that on the chin. And like I said, you yelling at a grown man for an hour, he ain't about to just stand there and take it.
Yeah.
He walked out. He ain't leave. He ain't pack up his stuff and say, man, I'm done with this. No, we did that, did our workout, we ran, we was off on Tuesday, came back Wednesday, or we went right to work. Everybody. I mean, everybody was on time. I think we went about 6, 7 weeks, no drop balls at practice. It was like one of those, like, this is kind of cool to see. And then after the season, we kind of in the locker room going over it and stuff. And it was like, man, that was some wild stuff. And then again, it happened again. Bill said something to Jules this time. Jules walked out. Nobody responded. It was like, oh, that's just Jules, he gave that name. But then Jules, it was so how it would go would be Tom, Jules, Grump, and kind of everybody else. We kind of all fed off of how they was going. If they was having a bad day, we trying to pick them up and trying to get everybody going. But if we all having a bad day, we was all having a bad day. We just needed that one spark, and those 3 guys was like the spark at times. And then sometimes it would be somebody on special teams, somebody on defense, and it's just that one spark, and then it was contagious. So it was like beautiful to see. But the other craziest story was the ring ceremony after that game. We were in OTAs. Everybody dog tired. We just like Bill just ran us. We started this thing called a 3-minute run. Start on one goal line, go touch the back of the end zone, and you're trying to get 790 yards in 3 minutes, so there's no stopping, no breaks. So after
790 yards in 3 minutes?
In 3 minutes. Yeah, so if you put that in perspective, that's not easy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a few of the receivers, you see them running, like, oh, them boys fast. And I'm running, I'm trying. And after about 500, my back just start doing this. So I was like, all right, we're just going to push through it. And I look over my shoulder. And Tom is.
Yeah. I saw that 40 now. I saw him at the NFL Combine. So I'm trying to imagine.
So look, that first off, that is not for the weak. Second, it don't matter how fast you are. It's just how long you can run. But it was one of the more, and I hate to say this, but when we played against Atlanta in that Super Bowl, when everybody asked, like, well, what happened? They ran out of gas. We had been doing 3-minute runs all year. And it had got to the point where we was doing like 3 at a time.
I couldn't believe it when y'all beat Atlanta. I was like, come on, man. Brandon, it was surreal to see how that played out.
So the cool thing for me was, and I'm all about, coaches and players having great relationships and stuff like that. Man, at halftime, we was sitting in the locker room, we was down. So, everybody kind of like, man, Man, Bill walked, looked at us, and walked off. Didn't say a word to nobody. Tom got up and said, we don't need none of them. It's just us, and it's just us going out there. So we left the coaches in the locker room. We got up. I think the halftime show wasn't even over with. We was already in the tunnel like, yeah, we about to go out here. And then play, another big play, turnover, another big play. We got the ball back. Now we sitting there. I'm looking in the stands. Fabulous telling me, he's like, hey, I got 50 grand on this game. Y'all better make something happen. We get into overtime. We going down on kickoff. And I just remember the returner caught the ball. He was running right at me. But in my head, I was like, there's nobody around me. It's me and him, and I'm inside the 20. So it's like in my head, bro, if I stop you behind this 10, y'all not getting down this field. And so as he coming towards me, I go to reach for a tackle. I get hit, but I got him by a shoulder pads. I pull him down. We get off the field. Strength coach come up to me. He was like, "You know, you just ran 23 miles per hour." I said, "At the end of the game." He said, "It wasn't just you." He said, "Your whole side went 20 plus." And so when we look at the picture of it, our kickoff team, like I'm the 2, so I'm closer to the sideline. Everybody else is I'm inside the 20. Everybody else literally a yard behind me. So he had nowhere to go. So it was like Tom really inspired that entire second half and overtime as well. Because once we saw it was like he wasn't throwing in the towel, we playing until the clock strikes 0. But I was telling you a crazy story at the ring ceremony. Of course, everybody having a good time, and what song was playing? I think it was Migos, "Handsome and Wealthy" was playing, and I kind of remember everybody kind of just being in a circle, and my goofy tail was just in the middle, and I'm just sitting there dancing, and then I just get a tap on my shoulder, and it's Tom's shirt open, jacket off, eating.
He was turned up.
He was turned up, and it was like after that moment, I was like, you know what? You're pretty cool, bro. You need anything, you come holler at me, you know.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
what's up.
like our relationship kind of blossomed after that because
Yeah.
that's what.
Yes, what's up, man? Let me ask you. I know you mentioned Ocho, man, playing, and I've heard Ocho say some wild things. I know that had to be an interesting time as teammates, but he talks about this urine therapy. Now, is he trolling, bruh? Oh, what the hell is that about, Brandon? I need to understand that.
So I never played during the season. Like that was Ocho, if I'm not mistaken. That was Ocho last like spring camp on the team. So as a rookie coming in, as a rookie coming in, I ain't gonna lie, I had gotten into some trouble with weed and stuff like that when I was in college.
Mhm.
So my first day walking in, Ocho, the vets was already working out. It's all the rookies. We fresh off the plane. We walking in, and this clown on the other side of the field, he's like, "Hey, which one of y'all went to Ole Miss?" I said, "That's me." "You Bolden?" "Yeah, that's me." "Smoke something, bro." And I was like, "Oh God, no, you did not."
He did it like that, Brandon.
And when I put my head down, picked my head up, like Dante Hightower, who I played against, Tavon Wilson, Alfonso Denard, Nate Ebner, we all kind of like clicked tight because we all met each other at the combine and stuff. So we hanging out. And they all just turn and look at me, and I'm looking at them. And then I pick my head up, and Bill looking like, "Who is he?" I said, "Oh."
On the
So at that
way in.
point, I was like, "Yeah." I dapper everybody, man. It was nice meeting y'all. Y'all go kick butt this season because they about to cut me after that. So I ain't really get to share that, but I don't put nothing past what that man be saying at all. He really,
Okay.
he really wild like that. So he
Yeah.
very well could be doing that. Very well.
Okay. No, understood. And I heard you mention Fabulous. So he was saying he had that money on that game. So clearly he won.
Yeah, he won. He won.
What did he say to you after the game, man?
Man, by the time we got back over there, we like after I made that tackle, because he was sitting like right behind where I was sitting on the bench. And he was like, "Hey, 38. That's what I'm talking about, bro. What a party at after this." I was like, "Bro, the game ain't over with. Chill. Just wait." And
Right,
then
right.
finally the game was over with. By the time I ran out on the field, celebrated with them, came back on the outside line to kind of, be with the fans and stuff, he was already on the field.
Yeah.
And he asked me again. He's like, "Where we at tonight?" I was like, "Dog, I'm going to our team party. I'm not in Houston. I'm not going out there with y'all clowns. No, sir."
Let me ask you, did you ever interact with Aaron Hernandez?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my dog.
really? So tell me about that, because obviously, the way that spiraled out and watching his story, what was that interaction like, and how was he as a teammate, as a friend? I would imagine when you say that's your dog, like you knew him differently.
Yeah, so it was like all this stuff that was out in the news, and I knew nothing of that. I knew none of that. I knew Aaron Hernandez I knew was in the building by 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. He was in there getting treatment an hour before we even had meetings. He would be in the sauna, hot tub, cold tub before we even get started. He in the meeting room, he taking notes. If like as a running back, I didn't understand the blocking scheme or the tight end going this way, but the rest of the line going this way. And I'm sitting there struggling because my rookie, I was the only offensive player on the team as a rookie. And so I was sitting in my locker, all the defensive guys gone. So I'm sitting in my locker trying to get my stuff together. And he came, sat down, yo, Rook, what you need help with? I said, bro, I can't get these routes down. And he's like, man, it's easy. Whoever else is in this formation. So if it's this formation, this the play, all you gotta do is convert it and just know if I'm here, I got this. If I'm here, I got this. And he was the one who suggested, he was like, bro, they got index cards in the coaches area. Go pull out the second drawer. And if anybody say anything, just say, I'm just getting some index cards to write my notes. And he was the one who got me to start taking notes in meetings. He was the one who I went from index cards to a notebook to a little black book where I had all my code words and everything else. And even off the field, we practice and everything else. He going to get in the sauna. He in the sauna for an hour. Man, what you coming to get in the sauna for? He's like, man, when you eat this and you do this, you get all these toxins. So you just went out there and sweated it, got it out the hard way, not just come sitting here, relax, and let your body recover because your body recover well in the heat against the cold. And being from Louisiana, I don't gotta worry about being in the cold. My first time in New England, what Cat Williams said, you gotta buy your jacket from them. I had my little champion hoodie. I was like, man, I'm cool. My first time being at 15 degrees, I thought it was over with for me. I said, I ain't gonna make it home. But then again, here come Aaron. Hey, no, keep the whole sweatsuit on. Come on, we about to go hop in the sauna. We get in the sauna, and a lot of the a lot of the tricks and trades of the game is discussed in that sauna. So So it's like I got DBs telling the receivers if somebody line up on you like this and do this how you get it. And I got receivers telling DBs, linebackers telling the O line telling D line. Now our sauna wasn't that big, but we would end up after practice having about 20, 30 people in there. And it's 20, 30 different conversations going. But what the D line and O line talking about can help me because if I know if a D lineman is in a what a technique he's in, he can only go one or two directions. So as a running back, I'm hearing, oh, I'm just gonna try to push you out, but if you high on me, so okay, I'm gonna stay behind this, and then boom, 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 I can make my play here, and then we running it like, hey, bro, so if y'all do that, and I do this, oh yeah, that might work. And same goes with kickers and everything else. We would be in there and just like that's where everybody game kind of grew, and it all started when everybody started paying attention to Aaron Hernandez was in here, and he teaching us how to run routes because we rookies. And he was like, man, I remember I was a rookie. Ain't nobody taught me this. So I'm going to put y'all on game. And then that stuff happened. And the craziest thing for me is, like I said, knew nothing about it. That video of him pulling up to the stadium and running in the door, like when the helicopter was chasing him, that was me holding the door for him. Had no idea. I'm walking outside. There's a helicopter flying around. So it was just like, oh, wow. And we was just with him like a couple nights before that.
So, I mean, so when you got the news, and I'm curious because now when you say that, obviously he was well liked as a teammate. It sounds like.
Yeah, he had no problem. As an entire locker room, none of us believed it. So even when the stuff started coming out, it's still like that's 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 not we called him Chico. I was like, that's not the Chico I know. I don't know nothing about this. Aaron Hernandez I knew was one of the most considerate football players I've ever played with because he didn't care. He didn't care about who you was. He didn't care about what you had did before you got there. His main thing was he wanted to win. He wanted to be successful. He wanted everybody around him to be successful.
Man, I appreciate you sharing that, bro. You mentioned your grandfather, man, and I wanted to. I heard he had a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What is that? Talk about your grandfather. What does that mean when you talk about your own legacy? How does that saying feel?
um, my grandfather, my grandfather was one of the like dopest people I've ever met. He had he's from Atlanta, matter of fact.
Mm.
Came to Louisiana where he met my grandmother at Southern University, and the first Super Bowl they played in was against the Packers, the Super Bowl one. They lost that one, and they went back 3 years later. Super Bowl four, ironically, was played in New Orleans. So I think that was the year my mom was born. So my grandmother and her family was there, and but I can literally do the commentary for Super Bowl four word for word because he has the what is like the 5 millimeter reel,
Yeah.
and so that was my first time like actually doing film, and I'm like 6. And at this
Mm.
time, I was too big to play football, so I wasn't even playing football. I was a baseball player all the way up until I got to high school. And so the first time he came to a game, I was a freshman in high school, and I was a defensive player. And first thing he goes, why? I said, what you mean why? He was like, put the ball in your hand, go do something. I said, well, Papa, you always said if I'm bigger than everybody, go ahead and make an example. He said, yeah, but go play offense. Just try to do something. Because I was playing linebacker and safety at the time. And then ironically, my head coach my sophomore year played for my grandfather when he coached at Southern. Soon as he put two and two together, oh, Pitts, yeah, go back there. You playing running back today. I was like, man, I don't want to do. We got 200 yards in the game. And so there's that. And then this man still talking about salt tablets and go soak in the cold tub. And I was just like, well, don't nobody take salt tablets no more. But, so we did an interview. We played in Houston. We did an interview in like 2013, 2014. And he wore the AFC championship ring on his middle finger, and he wears his Super Bowl championship on his ring finger on his right hand. And we were doing the interview, and we was talking about your question is like the legacy, and I still feel like this. He set the bar for our family, going to a Super Bowl, and not only going but winning. My job was to take that bar down and put a new one on. And so after I won the first one, his first thing he said, well, I got 2 rings. I've been twice. And I was like, I won my first one. You didn't. And so now we going back and forth about that one. And then we go play Atlanta, and I got the second one. So how he always, anytime he wear his rings, if you like, hey, Mr. Frank, he'll just wave, like just kiss the ring. And so I got a picture of me and him after I got my second one. We both got our rings on. We waving at people just going down the street with our rings down. So, like he was that person that started that fire for me to try to just not only go just play football but be successful at it. Go win a Super Bowl. Try to, and it's not all about. He was the one who taught me it's not about how much money you make or who recognizes you in the street. He said, there's one thing can't nobody do. They'll never be able to take that hardware off your finger. Now, whether you did it by yourself or you did it with a team, that's something that nobody will ever be able to take away from you. Like almost like a college degree almost. So he was one of those people for me that really not only inspired me to play football, to try to be successful at football. And that's why that last year in New England, that's why I changed my number to 25 to, that was my ode to him because, without him, to be honest, I don't really think I've been playing football. Like I said, I was a baseball player my whole life.
Wow, man, that's incredible, bro. Speaking of that hardware, man, where do you keep your Super Bowl ring?
Oh, in storage, locked up. Locked up. They do not see the light of day. Days not one what that one from Atlanta, like Mr. Kraft is he Mr. Kraft is Mr. Kraft. He petty. You know. He you remember what the score was at halftime for that Super
Oh, I
Bowl?
remember. I don't know the exact score, but I felt like what I'm saying, y'all wasn't up.
No, we was way down. It was 28-3.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Wow.
You got that number?
Unbelievable.
You got that number in your head.
Yeah.
In that Super Bowl ring, we got 283 diamonds. Yeah, they don't come outside. They don't come outside. They don't come outside.
All right. Brandon, I want to go back into the locker room, man, particularly, Vegas. I know they've lost 9 straight. Antonio Pierce, I'm an Antonio Pierce. I like him a lot as a coach. I think there's a lot there, but fans are frustrated. Um, from your vantage point, what do you think is going wrong? What's going left for the team?
Um, to be honest, they're trying to find their identity still, because it's when you really break it down, when you break it down, he took over a staff that he didn't bring in. Then he was kind of rushed to pick a staff right away, and like I said, I'm not there, but talking to a few other guys, he didn't handpick his staff like most coaches get to handpick their staff. So like they trying to find out who they want to be, who's going to be here, who's not going to be here, and like I'm like you, I'm an AP fan. I was an AP fan when he was playing, you know. Um, so and like real great dude. Even when we was going through all that stuff last year before he took over, he was like one of the coaches who I could go say, "Hey, coach, like I don't get it. Like what are we missing?" And we would have those conversations, and at times we showed flashes of being really good, and then sometimes it was just like, bro, we didn't even show up to the game today. So I think they personally got to find that identity. They have to, and it sucks because like I was with Bill, and when I look at the whole thing with Bill handpicked everybody from his GM to his equipment manager, you know. So if I feel like if AP able to get full reins like that, I think there'll be a more successful team, because like I said, and you could kind of see it on some of the players' faces. And when I talk to a lot of them, they say the same thing, like, bro, we just don't have an identity. And I think that's like biggest their biggest letdown right now. And I don't even want to call it a letdown, because they're not playing terrible football. They're in the game a lot of the game, and it's just one play or two plays in the series that just don't go their way, and some teams kind of pull off from them. But like I said, I love AP. I hope he stay there, and I hope they just give him the team and let him do what he wants to do. He gets the people he wants to bring in. He don't got to answer to nobody. If it's like that, like even Dan Campbell. Look when Dan
Yeah,
Campbell first took over, and he had to get
yeah,
everybody who he didn't want in there out of there. Now look at the team now.
Detroit.
So
Yeah, it's amazing.
you get him.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of talk about the possibility of Shador Sanders come to Vegas, and I know that he's been, mentored by Tom Brady as well. Um, what do you think about the idea of building a team in the future around a young quarterback like that?
Well, planning for the future is like most of what every NFL team does. Um, I now him coming in and being impactful straight off the bat, it can happen. We've all seen it happen before. Rookies don't tend to do that well the first couple, like the first 4 5 weeks, you know. And Tom would be the first one to tell you, if he didn't have the quarterbacks in front of him when he first got in, he wouldn't have panned out to what he turned into being. You know, that is more realistic, instead of saying, "Oh, they're gonna draft him number one. We're gonna get these other players, and we just gonna throw all y'all in that fire as soon as y'all get in there." That's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. That has never worked for anybody. As long as I've been paying attention to the NFL, that ain't worked for anybody. I wish him the best
Man,
of luck though, and I know it's gonna wherever he goes, it's gonna be exciting. I know it's gonna be exciting.
it's gonna be exciting. You're right about that, bro. Wow. Um, let's get into this fair or foul next, man. And we've got on some of these big stories, Brandon, but I want to hit you with some of these trending topics, and you tell me fair or foul. If you agree with it, obviously it's fair. If you disagree, it's foul. But most importantly, why? Right. So first things
Gotcha.
first. The Cowboys, man, heartbreaking loss on Monday. A costly special teams error. Michael Parsons leaves the game early out of frustration. Was that fair or foul?
You're not out there by yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of young guys watching you. You got kids watching you on national television. The one thing you don't see is one of the star players is so upset that they can't be out there with the rest of the team going through whatever y'all going through.
Yeah. Next one, man. Now we've had a few NFL coaches have been fired this season. Is it fair or foul to fire a coach mid-season?
I would say it's fair if it's not the first season. It's foul if it's their first time. Like it's their first go around, and it's a long season. A lot of coaches, and I learned this in college because they switched coaches when I got there. So it was a lot of guys who was under the old coach. They was there for the old coach, and now the new coach bringing in people, and now you kind of creating rifts between players because this player who been doing this and first team all SEC, all this other stuff. Now you got this freshman coming in, and now this freshman starting over him, and so you got stuff like that going on. So to kind of get one of those first year coaches, like AP, for example, because I don't count last year because he took over. To say you was going to fire AP after the one season, I think that's foul. Because you got to give this man a chance to get, like I said, get his cast of characters that he won't end up, not what he was kind of like just given.
Inherited.
You know what I'm saying?
True. Understood. So, and when you talk about interim coaches, he was one of those interim coaches that came in and actually, showed some fire.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that interim coaches move the needle?
Most of the time when they do them interim coaches I'm not going to say it's like who the players want to play for, but it's kind of whoever makes that decision, whoever is most moved by that coach. So for the Saints, for example, Darren Rizzi, like I said, I played for him in Miami. One of the most like, when I say this man crazy, but he loved football. So he real energetic. He don't care who you is. He'll get in your face. Y'all can talk about whatever. And if y'all disagree on something, he not one of them coaches who are like, well, I said this right, shut up. No. Come talk to me. Now what you see? All right, let me tell you what I see. Now let's find some middle ground. That's the type of coach he is. And even when they got that first win when he took over, you saw how every player on that sideline, from old to new, came up to him because he's that guy in that locker room. Everybody would anybody who would meet him would tell you, I would play for him until the end of my career. Just because he's that good of a person, let alone coach. So in AP in AP's defense, same way. AP gonna get you fired up. AP gonna talk to you like a grown man. AP ain't gonna hide nothing from you. We gonna keep everything, And AP, from California, we gonna keep it street. We gonna talk right here. So that's the kind of coaches you kind of be looking for. So it's not more or less move the needle. It's like who gonna light that fire that we've been missing this entire season. And so, like I said, in just recent times, as of right now, Darren Rizzi and Antonio Pierce, the first two come to mind because AP was a linebacker coach. We would joke, we would, just have fun at practice and stuff like that. But then you would hear him talk to the linebackers sometimes. He was like, ooh, I bet they ready to run through the ball right now. You know what I'm saying? And even with Rizzi, when I played for Rizzi in Miami, we always talk about, are we going to do this scheme? We're going to block this and block that. And it was a lot of games where I'm looking like, Coach, this person outweighed me by 80 pounds. But because you told me that you believe I could go block this kick, I'm about to go block this kick right now. And go block it, and he on the field before the rest of the team is. You know what I'm saying? Because he's just as excited as you. So it's like it is move that needle, but nah, sometimes that needle don't move fast enough. They want that immediate fire, and those two hires, like I said, just in recent years, those two hires come to mind to where that fire is going to be lit as soon as the players find out who's taking over. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Now, as we get ready to get up the road, man, from you in Baton Rouge, man, the big game is in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? I need to tap into my psychic friends and see who can who can look into the crystal ball and give us that answer, man. What's the team? Who's the team to beat?
Team. I mean, of course, you got to say the Chiefs. They look like they about to get beat. What past 5 games, and then they pull it off on the last second. So they would be the number one team in the AFC that has to be beat. And now, how somebody gonna pull that off? I don't know. Because like I said, it always looked like, well, this don't look like they're gonna pull it off this game, and then when the game over, they showed and pulled it off. So in the AFC, it will definitely be them, then come Bills, and then Ravens. Those three are gonna have to duke it out. In the NFC, which is even stranger conference to me, Detroit would be the number one to beat in the NFC. Uh, somebody gonna have to figure out a way to stop Minnesota. And who else? Who else is in the NFC? Who am I missing? That's the only two. That's the only two I know that they have to be beat in order to. If y'all want to make it to where y'all going, those are the two teams in NFC to beat. Them the three teams you're gonna have to go through in the AFC to beat just to get to the show. Cause and it's not gonna be easy, especially if the road to the Super Bowl goes through Buffalo. I don't think nobody beating Buffalo. It get cold in Buffalo. Ooh, it get cold. It's a different type of cold.
Yeah. That lake effect. That lake effect.
Yes, indeed.
Do you think that the Patriots can rebuild into a Super Bowl contender again, or is that dynasty has that come and gone? Obviously, with having a quarterback like Brady.
Right. That's I to be honest, when you really go back and watch Drake May, he is not a bad quarterback. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Mac Jones. He his own quarterback. And like I said, there are moments to where they can be really good. What I've learned and what I've witnessed when I was in New England, that first 6 years, I think we had two new offensive linemen that whole time. From the time I got there until then, we only had, and it was two rookies who came in. They started off slow, but once they got it, Shaq Mason, one of the highest paid guards, he playing for Houston right now. But everybody else, David Andrews, he was the center. He's still there. But that's a whole new offensive line. None of them have been there, you know? And so that's one thing. That's one thing they definitely gonna have to address this offseason is go find some vets, some young guys, somebody to protect him. And they could definitely be in the running for the playoffs next year. Like because I know Mayo. He know what it takes to get there. We played in the Super Bowl together. You know what I'm saying? We was on them teams that got to the Super Bowl. So, and I'm a fan. He got Mr. Hightower himself as a linebacker coach. You got the staff that know how to get there.
No doubt. Last thing, Brandon, your MVP selection for this season.
Ooh, my MVP pick. Ain't nobody gonna like this one. Saquon. You have to get it. You have to get
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
there is
That's that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There has
Yeah.
not been a
Yeah.
more exciting player this season, and I could give you they gonna have more problems getting an offensive rookie of the year than picking an MVP, because
Mm.
Josh Allen, he always gonna be in there. Patrick Mahomes, he always gonna be in. Lamar gonna always be in there, but who doing what Saquon doing on a consistent basis?
Right. Yeah. 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 He didn't driven that stock up for the position again, and it's good to see.
Yes,
So
he did.
I'm excited. Yeah, I think I can see that easily. You know what I mean? I can see that. Man, Brandon, look, bro, I appreciate you.